Hey, all you beautiful people out there, and welcome to my channel for another rebuttal. Yay! A creationist rebuttal. What we all want, right?
And John Morris Pendleton is the very lucky creationist that I have decided to cut my creationist debunking teeth on. Are you as excited as I am to debunk some creationist nonsense? Then let's sink our teeth into it and let's go. But before we start, just a friendly reminder that if you like this kind of content, please subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it very much.
Hello, this is John Morris Pendleton, chemist, scientist, auto mechanic, mid-husband, father of 8, happily married man, bringing you our conferences on creation, evolution, dinosaurs, the Bible, and this time we're going to look at fossils. Fossils are something that lived at one time and then turned into rock. They're like a register of what things used to be in the past. We have this diagram of evolution, which tries to give us the idea that from one cell to a multi-cell and different creatures, that eventually we evolved into man. Now that's a drawing. It is not science.
You know, John, nobody's impressed with how many words you can tack on to the end of your name. How about some letters? Like PhD, MSN, that sort of thing. Also, mid-husband is not a word. However, Logic excoriates you about that on his video, so I'm not even going to go there with you. And I sure do hope that nobody is impressed that you are a father of 8. All it shows is that you have good sperm. Well, John, you kind of sort of got that right. Except fossils are not remains of the organism itself. It is parts of organisms that have been preserved in rock. And I know you're going to bring up the quote unquote worldwide flood later. And I want to bring up this question before all the quote unquote flood talk. So this is a trilobite. Now, why aren't trilobites found in the same sedimentary layers as T Rexes are, John? Answer that. Everyone, except you apparently, knows that drawings are not science. Now, a worm did not turn into a man. That is just ridiculous. What happened was changes happened over millions of years. Wake up. Evolution is the change in allele frequencies in a population over time. This means that things that are not favorable to the species are selected out, whereas favorable things are selected in. And before you say this is magic, this is not magic, first genes have to mutate before natural selection can take effect. And then that natural selection will weed out the mutations that are not favorable over time. And this is context dependent.
Established that there are 3 key factors necessary in order to make fossils, to fossilize something. You need rapid death, rapid burial, and rapid pressure. If you don't have one of these 3 key factors, it could be you don't make a fossil. Now, I would be sorry if it would happen, but it does happen that if you have a pet cat or pet bird or a pet dog, they die sometimes. Now, if you put your dead pet out in the front yard or in the backyard and you put a sign out, scientific experiment, fossil formation, you will not make a fossil. First, it will rot and stink. It'll grow ugly looking worms. and it'll just be a mess. It will not make fossils. You need rapid death, rapid burial, rapid pressure in order to make a fossil.
Yes, John, I'm pretty sure we all know how fossils are formed. And you know what? That mud that you like so much, it keeps oxygen from getting in there. In order for things to be fossilized, they have to leave an imprint. This is why things without hard shells or bones are usually not fossilized. Not really sure why you brought up pets. I mean, yeah, I guess I understand why you brought up pets, but if you're talking to kids, they aren't going to understand. Pick your audience, John.
As we mentioned another time, but I want to repeat again here, whenever fossils are found in the ground, they're always found without a name tag telling us what it is or a sticker telling us how old it is. People, according to their beliefs, according to their way of looking at things, put on the names and the dates.
We aren't the ones who need to be right all the time, John. Neither are we the ones who insist that the Earth has to be about 6,000 years old because we read it in a book, even though we know it is close to 4.54 billion years old. By the way, your book doesn't even say how old the Earth is. You just assume it says it's 6,000 years old. By this point, everyone should know that John is just projecting. We don't give things ages based on what we believe. We give things ages based on what the science says.
Now, in the evolutionary idea, we expect in this upper part of the diagram to see a series, a sequence, a chain, if you please, of slight gradual changes from one species to another, each one changing a little bit more, and thereby we get all the different life forms through a chain of changes. And we would expect to find these in the fossil record.
Jesus, John, I really wish you would get something right in your lectures. I sure am glad I've never heard you call yourself a biologist. You're not even a scientist, despite your ill-fitting lab coat. Now, I really hope that you are miscommunicating and you are not trying to say that we should expect to find linear progression of species. I really hope that that's not what you're trying to say, but I think it is. As I've said before, not everything fossilizes. We have an imperfect fossil record, and we are extremely lucky to have the fossils that we have, and we have not even found them all yet. I'm sure you've heard of a paleontologist called Stephen Jay Gould, and I bet if you think really, really hard, you can figure out why I bring up Stephen Jay Gould. Wait a minute, I forgot who I was talking to. Okay, John, a little history lesson for you. Stephen Jay Gould is a paleontologist who came up with the theory of punctuated equilibrium to counter the gradualistic theory of evolution. This model states that there are punctuated times of relatively quick changes over geologic time, punctuated by periods of less change as opposed to gradualism. However, no matter which model is correct, evolution is a fact, and the theory of evolution is a very robust theory, robust more than even the theory of gravity.
These two are especially interesting. Here you have a larger fish caught right in the middle of eating, swallowing a smaller fish. And all of them are fossilized. Now, for one thing, this is a good evidence for rapid death, rapid pressure, rapid burial, as would occur in a worldwide flood. And of course, the thing is, they're all fossilized. Notice the perfection. You can see in the bottom one here of the fins and the tail lines, the ribs and everything, even the eyes. Amazing detail.
Yeah. Why would it surprise anyone, including you, John, that a fish would be catastrophically killed while swallowing another fish? Apparently, you've never heard of flash floods, John. And by the way, I'm going to need some citation about rapid death and rapid pressure. So you're impressed about amazing detail in marine fossils? Have you never seen a marine fossil before?
Evolutionists say sometimes the reason we don't find the intermediators between the different species is because they had a lot of real soft tissue that didn't fossilize clearly enough so that we could have a good copy of it. Well, please tell me, what could be softer tissue than a jellyfish? They're about 99% water. And yet of jellyfish, here's a picture of one, we have fossils of jellyfish. Here it is. Actual fossils of them. What could be softer? And so that is no excuse. We have fossils of everything.
So you want to go mano a mano on fossilization, huh? Okay, I'm game. I'll even throw in jellyfish fossilization just for you, John. Not quite sure what rapid death and rapid pressure have to do with fossilization, because things certainly do have to die in order to become a fossil. Rapid burial is needed to protect the organism from scavenging and also to preserve the organism in an anoxic environment. So let's talk about jellyfish fossils. You know, Don, science has an answer. And the sad thing is, you could have looked this up for yourself, but your narrow mindedness won't allow you to. Sometimes the heat and pressure of being buried can cause soft tissue of, say, marine invertebrates like jellyfish to release oxygen and hydrogen, which then makes a carbon residue. This process, known as carbonization or distillation, leaves a very detailed carbon impression of the dead organism in the sedimentary rock. But the more important lesson to be learned here is that when faced with a question we cannot answer, we need to get to work trying to answer the question and not put our heads in the sand.
Article of Time magazine says, Evolution's Big Bang. New discoveries show that life as we know it began in an amazing biological frenzy that changed the planet almost overnight. Did you get that? They're copying us. Overnight. That means from one day to the next. That's what the Bible talks about. God did one thing on one day, another thing on the next day. It was overnight, from one day to the next.
Why are you citing an article from Time magazine? John, Time magazine is not, never has been, and never will be a source. You need to find me a scientific journal. That is the source. So now that I've pointed out how much you suck at even the most basic of the scientific method and paper writing, I think you're talking about the Cambrian explosion. So let's talk about that. So let's talk a bit about the Cambrian explosion. It happened approximately 570 to 530 million years ago. This blows your young Earth hypothesis completely out of the water. I guess I shouldn't be surprised that you don't know that almost overnight is a figure of speech, considering that you don't really read. I mean, come on, you don't even read the Bible, let alone any other books.
You know, humans, for as far as history can tell us, has almost always dreamed of flying. And you know what? To date, we cannot fly. We have machines that take us. We can make hang gliders. But there's not a single human being that has sprouted one single feather. Dream about flying all you want. You will never grow feathers.
Then John goes on and on about living fossils, the things that we used to think were extinct but have been found living, usually in oceans, but some other times too. And also, he goes on to quote mine Stephen Jay Gould, like all creationists do. Logic does a pretty good job of beating this argument to a pulp, but he did leave a few gems for me. Thank you very much, Logic. I really do appreciate it. And I'm planning on doing his other videos too. Not Logic's videos, John's videos. But now that I've done a few of these creationist debunk videos, I'm kind of wondering whether I need to put a facepalm warning at the beginning of my debunk videos. Nah, if you haven't found that out by now, you're probably never gonna. Before I leave for today, I would like to say though that don't you think that if the worldwide flood really happened, we would have more fossils? Not to mention the fossils would be jumbled together, but we do not see that. Since John does not bring up hydrologic sorting, I am not going to bother arguing against it. I am just bringing it up to prepare you for the facepalm inducing Kent Hovind debunk that I am planning. And yes, it is very facepalm inducing, so be ready. Well, friends, thanks for watching. That's it for today. And please, if you have not already subscribed, please subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and leave a comment. It really helps the algorithm. And if you think that this is worth sharing, please share. Thanks to these awesome people who are my channel members. If you would like to join, you can join for as little as 99 cents a month, and you get your name on the list. You also get perks like custom emojis and members only content.